these are the UK charts from last week. And again, these are just box charts because that's all we get until, you know, the monthly charts come out. But it does give us a really good sense of, you know, what's happening in general. Because other than a couple things like FIFA, Britain seems to mirror what's happening in America. So the thing that I really thought was interesting on here, well, there's a couple of things, obviously. Elden Ring is still top 10, which is insane. Mario Kart 8 is still top 5, top 3, which is insane. You know, Prince of Persia did okay. And obviously Helldivers is, you know, back up into the top 10 this week. It's going to be sort of perennial. The one that I wonder is if it's giving Sony pause. Like, look at Spider-Man 2. That fucking thing won't ever stop, which is excellent. But look how far we have to drop. And Dragon's Dogma doesn't seem to have the staying power that I thought it would either, nor does Final Fantasy Rebirth, actually. But look how far you have to go down to find Rise of the Ronin. Rise of the Ronin dropped over 10 spots in this just a week. Now it's at 35. Last week it was at 23. The week before that it was at 15. The week before that it was number 3. Isn't that something? I mean, again, I don't know what the expectation Sony had of it was. It's not first party, but it was an exclusive. But I do have to assume, let's just say I'm glad Helldivers is up there. I hope Stellar Blade is up there, because I would hate for them to take the message that Helldivers is kind of an anomaly and Rise of the Ronin, Stellar Blade, all those things are kind of the norm, because, you know, I like that they're trying new things. I like that they're not having to break the bank on single player games like Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin. I didn't buy it because I heard it was really fucking hard, like a lot of that company. What are they, Team Ninja or whoever they are? 007 says he didn't see much advertising for Ronin. Yeah, that's true. Frank Blasi says Ronin felt too similar to Ghost of Tsushima and didn't look pleasing aesthetically. I liked what they showed with Rise of the Ronin only because I liked that it felt very Tenchu-y more than Tsushima. Like you were able to kind of fly and grapple up to roofs, and it kind of seemed the motion of the character was a lot more like Tenchu, which I liked. But apparently, yeah, my guess is it's just too hard for the room. Although I know they have an easy mode, so maybe, I don't know. I think people should come up with a different word than easy, because easy makes it feel like you're cheating. But I play on easy more often these days. I'm not playing anything on easy right now, but I do play it more because I can't get through the normal modes. I am curious about this from Suzuki. He says, Jaffe, PS fanboys attack Christopher Dring over FF sales numbers. I saw that he quit Twitter. I guess Christopher Dring is like the game industry biz guy. And it's like, really? Wow. You have a comment on Twitter and people don't like it and you run away. That's Twitter, man. What did you think this was? It sucks, but that's the way it is. But what do you mean they were upset over Final Fantasy numbers? I mean, look, Final Fantasy dropped, you know, how many places is that? It's like 8 places last week in the UK. It's not doing that well. Comparably speaking, Final Fantasy has not been what Final Fantasy was for a very long time. It just hasn't. I mean, I remember back when, you know, 3 was a mega seller and 7 was insanely popular. And in Japan, of course, if I remember correctly, the first time I heard about it was I was working at Sony and they were like, oh, no, they're not working today in Japan, because we had a phone call. And I said, well, why not? It's like, oh, it's a holiday. I'm like, what holiday? When they released either a Dragon Quest or a Final Fantasy, it was explained to me that it was actually a day that most people took off work. And so a lot of the people that I was trying to get in touch with were not there. Do I think negativity online is affecting game sales? Says, who is this? 7-6. I mean, yeah, sure, to a degree, because I think what happens is, I mean, it's no different than word of mouth, but it's so much easier to get word of mouth going on the internet. And a lot of times people will have comments that really aren't based on much of anything. Like I think Suicide Squad from, the Rocksteady guys. Was that a great game? No. Was it solid and fun and a total satisfactory game? Yeah, it was. And I don't think it was worth $70, but if you got it for 30 and you like those characters and you had some friends you wanted to play with, or even if you just wanted to do that single player like I did, it was a great time. But the internet just tore it apart. Most people who tore it apart didn't even play it. So yeah, it's not that the internet has made it worse. I think it's the same as it ever was, but like a lot of things with the internet and social media, I think it has exacerbated and amplified, and in that it has more power than it did, but it's probably the same level of people complaining about things they don't really know anything about.